All right, let's look at one of the most powerful reports that we have. This is the student profile report from MAP. After the students are done testing, all of their data goes into a student profile. And when you want to know anything about the student, you can go one student at a time and look at this information. When we look at this student, we see that reading is stronger than math. We know that because of the color codes. The color codes go red, orange, kind of beigey orange, green, and blue. And so we see right down here that color code, and that matches with the color codes up here. So we know right off the bat, reading is stronger, math is not quite as strong. When we look over here, we look at the growth and achievement. Between tests, this student is in the 98th percentile of growth. That means where they were to where they are, that student has grown a lot in her understanding of math. The achievement is at mean in the 44th percentile. When we talk about mean, we're talking about those students that are right in the middle of all students tested. And so that's from the 41st to the 60th percentile is what they use as the mean. In the quadrant chart, the student has high growth, low achievement. We saw that when we looked at the quadrant chart and we looked at all of the students together. Okay. This student, the projections, excuse me, for the STAR test, the student is projected to score approaches. ACT and SAT, they're not on track if they take the test at spring, which is all right. We have room to grow the student. And obviously, the student can grow because they are growing a lot. We have the quantile measurements. We use the Lexiles in math, but we don't really use the quantile. I mean, we use the Lexiles in reading, but we don't really use the quantiles that much in math. But you can look at this if you'd like. Okay, here is all of the MAP tests that this student has taken. We see that this student is in the 8th grade, and here is their history. We see that this student is continuing to increase their knowledge and understanding of mathematics as we look at this chart. We see from the winter of 22 to the winter of 23, look at how much this student has grown. Okay, we can come over here and we can click on the star score and we can see where those star scores fall in this chart. Okay, so this is great. Now from 204 to from 204 to 210 might not seem like much, but it is growth. The student is increasing their understanding. The student is moving forward. Right, now, what else do we want to look at in this? When we look at this, excuse me, let me move that down out of our way. We see a statement. It says the math scores could benefit from a focus on computations and algebraic reasonings. Visit the instructional areas for more details about which skills and concepts she is ready to learn. And then it says compared to her overall school, the student has a strength in numerical representations and probability. As a student, she can take advantage of this strength when she is learning new materials. So it gives you where you need to help, where you can strengthen. You can set goals, but let's go into the instructional areas because this is a powerful piece of information. Okay, when we look at instructional information, the instructional areas, we have a couple of different choices. We can look at it by standard or by topic, and I'm going to show both. We can look at it, is this, where do we need to reinforce? What do we need to develop? And what do we need to introduce? So we're going to look first at the development. When we look at it, when we look at the data, it gives us a lot of information. Under equations, relationships, and inequalities, it tells us for inequalities, here's the students ready to learn. Here is her number sense and equations. So it breaks it down by concept for us. Okay. Now we could also say, show it to me by standard instead of just topic. And it will give us our SEs so that we can go and we can pull our resources and we know what to do. We know where the student needs to develop their skills, geometry and measurement, it does the same thing for us. Okay. Now, what we can do is we can say, well, what do we need to introduce? Where is it that we need to really start the student? What do we need to introduce the student to? And here we have introduce and develop. You'll notice that these are grayed out because they are up here in the develop. Here we have the introduction. Okay, identifies perpendicular lines. Okay, and then for the develop, it identifies perpendicular lines involving real world objects. And so we can work these together. Now, when we go to reinforce, here's what we can reinforce. That's what she's got. And if we're looking for something to extend, if we're looking to dig deeper and broader, that would be where we go. Okay. Now we can limit it. This shows all grades. I can say, just show me my 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Okay. And now it narrows down the SEs that it's looking for this student. But some of the times we have to go back to know what foundation this student needs in order to be able to get their on grade level concepts. Okay. I can close this out and I can go back to that overall look at the student. Okay, so now let's look at their reading. When we look at their reading, it says the student is ready for instruction in reading at a level that is above most of our U.S. national peers. Reviewer scores in the instructional areas to find skills and concepts that will continue to challenge her. That's great that we are on the way in which we need to challenge her. This is again that chart that says her growth is in the 87th percentile. So she's moving up. She's understanding, she's grasping, she's really into the instruction. Her achievement, she is above the mean, a little bit, but still above the mean. Okay, her projection for STAR is meets. Her Lexile score is 1090 to 1240. Okay, we saw that she kind of plateaued here, but now she's going back, she's going up. I have the STAR. We see that she is predicted to score a performance level of meets on the STAR. We need to make sure the student doesn't fall backwards anywhere in this school year, that she is continuing to accelerate her learning. Okay, we can again go into the instructional areas. And I'm sorry that timed out.